Good Wednesday morning. It's October 21st, 2020. I'm Guy McPherson of Nature Bats Last. You can find Nature Bats Last at guymcpherson.com. And I'm going to provide a few headlines from as far back as Monday. We didn't release a video yesterday. And indicate where the stock markets are headed this Wednesday morning. Going back to Monday, October 19th, from CNBC, IBM reports third straight quarter of revenue declines. As we'll see, most of the headlines are related to the pandemic still ongoing. I should point out as an aside that we're doing a live stream on this channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that has been announced both on this channel and also at guymcpherson.com. Okay, so back to the news, most of which is related to the pandemic or the consequences of the pandemic, including the IBM reporting third straight quarter of revenue declines. In fact, from Monday, 2 days ago, Dow skids 400 points in final hour as investors fret odds of stimulus deal before election. That's from MarketWatch. The market rose slightly on Tuesday, or I should say modestly, not slightly. All the indices were up. Also for Monday, CBS News, judge blocks Trump plan to cut food stamps for 700,000 adults. That's right, the Trump administration proposed cutting food stamps for 700,000 adults because apparently people don't need to eat to drive the economy. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. So while we're pouring billions of dollars, including the United States government pouring billions of dollars into the stock market and into various subsidies that benefit the wealthy, we can't provide food stamps for the poor in this country. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about this set of living arrangements, then I don't know what will. From 5:38 on Monday, the economy won't be back to normal until 2022 or later, according to our survey of economists. Normal? This economy was never normal. It was continually pumped up by bubble after bubble, and capitalism and industrial civilization have never been normal compared to the way we lived for almost the entire run of humans so far. So the economy won't be back to normal until 2022 or later. I'd say, if I had to guess, I would say never comes to mind. Never. How about never? Does never appeal to you? Such silliness. From the science fiction files, and there's quite a few actually from the science fiction files in today's headlines, offices resort to censors in futile attempts to keep workers apart. That's from Bloomberg on Tuesday, yesterday. So offices are trying to use censors to make sure that humans, which are being treated like, say, dogs with those invisible fences, don't cross over into the space of somebody else. So, sci-fi anybody? We're there. Stay in your cube. Stay in your box. That's an order. And if you don't, we're going to put that shock collar on you. Another one from the sci-fi files, indicating that the machines are fully in charge at this point. This one is from CNBC yesterday. Corporate execs are talking differently on earnings calls to please the machines. Yes, the machines are listening, and we must keep the machines happy. Is this whole thing a simulation? Is any of this real? Am I even here? The insanity. From the Wall Street Journal yesterday, Justice Department files antitrust lawsuit against Google. This has been a very long time in the making, and personally I'm a little surprised to see it ever come to fruition. We'll see how it proceeds down the line, since Google can pay a lot more for attorneys than the federal government, even though the federal government, gets to make the money. I suspect Google owns the government, not the other way around. We'll see how this plays out, if we have time to see it play out. From Vox, also yesterday, why everything from furniture to diet soda is so hard to buy right now. Can you say pandemic? Have you not been paying attention? We're 8 months into the thing. You'd think somebody might have noticed by now that we're in a pandemic and it's disrupting the ability to supply thousands of things that we think we need, and some of which we actually do. From the Washington Post, also yesterday, pandemic caused 299,000 more U.S. deaths than in a typical year. So, remind me again, is it a hoax? You crazy people who are calling it a hoax, who don't care at all about other human beings, so you just try to hide the fact that we're in the midst of a pandemic that has already killed nearly 300,000 people in the United States alone. If I seem disgusted, it's only because I am. More about the pandemic from the Wall Street Journal. COVID-19's global divide as West reels, Asia keeps virus at bay. Why might that be? American exceptionalism, an incredible sense of entitlement in this country and throughout the West, so that people don't think that they need to wear masks because we're so special. But in Asia, people actually pay attention to evidence. Oh, now there's an idea, isn't it? They actually pay attention to evidence and they follow their leaders who have their best interests in mind. We got none of that going on in this country. Leaders who care about the people, leaders who pay attention to, we got evidence, we got none of that going on here. So I'm not surprised there's a big difference between what's happening in the United States and Western Europe and other, quote, Western places, and what's happening in Asia. And if you're surprised, you haven't been paying attention to anything ever, as nearly as I can tell. Another one from the Sci-Fi Files, from CNN Business this morning. The pandemic is speeding up automation and 85 million jobs are on the line. If you've read any science fiction in the last 70 years, you could have seen this one coming too. As long as we have very inexpensive energy, we're going to make this transition away from people who need to be paid and machines that need to be serviced with a little nudge and oil here and there. From Quartz, used car prices in the U.S. are growing so fast they are driving inflation. This is from today as well, from this morning. And they're not, by the way. Here's the lead. The used car is a hot commodity in the U.S. right now. From June to September, the typical cost of a used car soared by 15%. The increase is so dramatic that it's had a major impact on the government's inflation numbers. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported overall inflation grew 0.2% from August to September. Yet without the increase in used car prices, there would have been no inflation at all. Actually, there has been no inflation at all. There's deflation. We're in the midst of a monetary spiral worse than the Great Depression. There's no inflation. There's deflation. It's happening very rapidly. So pumping up the price of used cars might have added 0.2%. But we're talking negative numbers, not in the point something range. We're talking real deflation at this point. So much happening, so little time. Again, make it a great day and be nice to your puppet. And finally, to the point of this entire exercise, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 75. The other broader and secondary markets are trending up as well. The tech stocks continue to lead the way, up 66 at this point, and it's 9:46 Eastern time, plus you got to add on the 30-minute lag from when the results are published and when I get them. So there you go. Bad news after bad news after bad news. The pandemic is driving us crazy. The pandemic is driving us to extinction. And the response is, as long as we can put the machines in charge, it's all going to be all right. Ergo, stock market going up and up and up, while the monetary system itself spirals downward. If you've read any Bradbury or Huxley or Orwell, you could have seen this coming. But like most people, I didn't think it would happen in my lifetime. It's always for somebody else, right? Well, we're there, and it's us.